So I might get started now, Linda, if that works. Yeah, we can just slowly keep adding people in as they come up. But yeah, hi everyone, good to see you. Welcome to this webinar where we'll be going through the advice pack and the action plan. So we'll start with just by going through the pack and what's in it, and then the action plan and what's maybe changed. And please don't worry if you have been using the other action plan. It'll all kind of carry over and you don't have to start again with this new one. And then we'll also have an example from Bromley, which will be really exciting, and have time for questions at the end. So please feel free to use the chat. I think we've got the Q&A function on today as well. So if you're familiar with that and would like to use that, it's really helpful for us. And we are recording the session today as well. So if you don't want to be part of the recording, just turn your camera off, and that's all good. And if you do speak to ask a question or anything and you don't want that to be recorded, just let me know and I'll snip it out. So I think we'll go around and do some introductions. So I'm happy to start. I'm Lucy and I'm the Communications and Network Coordinator for Internships Work. And I'll be working on different social media pieces and resources, and we'll be having more webinars as well throughout the year. Linda, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Yeah, I'm Linda Jordan and I'm one of the Internships Work regional leads. I cover London, but do bits of work across the country as well.
Wonderful, thanks Linda. Do we have Beth on? Sorry, I'm madly accepted everyone. Yeah. I haven't checked. Yes, okay.
Beth, I'm Beth.
Hiya, I'm Beth, and also Kay's here as well from Bromley. I'm the Send Employment Officer, and Kay is also here, so she's back from our Young People's Forum, so I'll introduce Kay as well.
Afternoon everybody, yeah, I'm Kay Moore, I'm the Send Programme Manager at the London Borough of Bromley.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Beth and Kay. Lovely to have you, and thank you for sharing today. And I think we have Kieran here as well, and potentially Rabab, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kieran. I'm Programme Manager for Internships Work. Thanks, Lucy.
And Rabab might be joining in a bit. And I think we might have some regional leads as well on the call. So feel free to kind of message in the chat. And that goes for everyone of kind of where you're joining from and your role, if you would like. So we'll get started just by going through the advice pack. So I'm going to share my, I'll send the link first. So it's on the website, so you should be able to access it at any time that you need. Just keep the link handy, and I'll share my screen so that we can go through the website and what's on there. So hopefully you can all see my window. Is that working? Just a couple of nods if everyone can see.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. So we've put everything, so before we had the resource pack, we had it in one big document, but we've put everything in separate links this time, hopefully to kind of help you isolate what you need at the time. So what we've got is links here for the content. So we've got the About Internships Work, and this has just an overview of internships work and also all of the links there as well. So you again can save this doc if that's helpful. We also have the action plan, which Linda will be going through after this. So when you click it, it'll download a Word document for you, and you can work on that. We've also got the Send Employment Forum suggested terms of reference in case that's helpful, or gives ideas. We also have that in easy read format as well, in case that's helpful to share as well. We also have a job profile information document that kind of goes through what a Send Employment Officer job role might look like, again, for any ideas. Sorry, still admitting a couple of people. We've also got an easy read of what supported internships are. Oh, sorry, it's not at the top, in case that's helpful. And all of these you can download as well. We've also got the example education, health and care plan. So I've got this example with Lucy, and it goes through kind of an exemplar of an EHCP plan. Quite lengthy, but really useful, hopefully. And then we've also got some links, and we may be adding to these as we go. But that's hopefully where you can find most of the things you'll need. And we've also got information about how to stay in touch. We're on social media, and also gives some info around using internships work for kind of general inquiries. And I'm sure you've all been using SI grants for grant for letters. So that's all grant related. We've also got the privacy statements if you're ever looking for those on this webpage as well. So unless there's anything that anyone wants to add about that, I'll hand over to Linda, who can go through the action plan. Well, you're just on mute, Linda.
Okay. Thank you, Lucy. So we thought we would relaunch these documents because although we did send out the resource pack early in 23, there's been a lot of changes. Not everywhere, because there's still a lot of familiar faces around, but there have been some new people. And we thought, even though it's just for one more year at the moment, we thought we would relaunch the what we're now calling the advice pack, and to do it in separate chunks, because reminding everybody that's been around a while what's in there, but also for new people who wouldn't be familiar with it. There are lots of hopefully helpful documents there to support your work on the forum and internships work program generally. So we had some conversations in the team as to whether we needed to update the action plan, because in the world of SEN things change quickly, and we thought that we didn't really need to update it, but we've done a sort of slightly updated version, which is very much the same as before, but we've taken a few bits out that seemed unnecessary and added a few bits because the DFE have asked us to work with everybody around the country to prioritise certain things. So they really want this year to be a priority for getting the employment forum really at the stage when it's going to carry on, because we know that without the right people around the table, without all the partners around the table really having conversations about everything on the action plan and things, wider things, we won't make progress. So we know that the forum's a really important vehicle for working strategically to get everything in place. It's going to mean that we work towards more and more young people moving into adulthood with good lives, and for the majority, some kind of work. What we want is fulfilling lives, isn't it, for all young people? And for many, we know that that's work, their aspirations are to work, but for every young person, we should be planning for them to have their best possible life. And thinking about employment creatively. So for those young people with the highest needs, it's really thinking about what is going to be their best life and how might they contribute to their communities. So you don't have to use the new action plan. It's not compulsory. You see that, Rabab?
Yeah, we can see that.
So, and Lucy, sorry, I don't know if Rabab's here.
No, I'm good. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, you're here. Okay, so as I said, you don't have to use it, but we thought for some of you, you might see it as a bit of a fresh start. It's entirely up to you whether you use it or not. But what you do need to take account of is some of the priorities that DFE have asked us to share with you. So that's all updated. And we've added something to data, and that's because we keep getting this kind of difference in numbers, difference in data between the baseline survey that we've been doing over the years that we've been working on the programme. And then when this SEN2 data is published by the DFE, which it was recently, there's a lot of differences. So we really want to make sure that in every local authority, whoever does your send to has a strong relationship with at least with your internships work lead, but maybe could even come along to the forum at some stage just to understand the work and the importance of getting the data collection correct. So I know in London we had quite a few of the London authorities where it said they haven't got any internship programs on their send to, and I know that they have got a lot. So, you know, it's really important that this year we really get this data between what you guys know you've got in your local authorities and the number of internship places, the number of young people on internships, and what's reported to the DfE through the send to. So we've added that one. That's a new one. So if you're going to carry on using your old action plan, then it's a good idea if you could add this one. We've bolded the one about predicting the number of young people that could benefit from a supported internship, because we know that even though we're growing the number of programs and the number of places quite significantly, we know that we're still not doing enough of that good planning from year 9 to make sure that we're identifying the young people from then and through Key Stage 4 that we know an internship could be the right program, so that we're planning earlier. So we still feel that this predicting the number that you would eventually need, and we say here over the next 4 years, is really got to be a priority in terms of sustainability. Partnership readiness, this is really about the forum, and we've bolded that second one just to make sure that we really want those forums this year to become the best they can be. That's the DfE's big priority. They really want those forums to be the place where all of the strategic conversations are happening to make sure that we're developing all of those employment pathways for all young people, and troubleshooting, you know, where we've got barriers. So information is the same. And we've bolded these ones, which are outcomes in EHC plans and annual reviews. The words are the same, but we bolded them because the reasons that I've already said, we do need to get better at making EHC plans really fit for purpose for moving into post-16. So those are bolded because they're priorities. We've also bolded vocational profiling because we really believe that this is essential if we're going to be supporting more young people into employment. So and we know that's something that is happening across the country more and more, that people are developing approaches to having vocational profiling as something that does happen through Key Stage 4 for those young people that are identified as will be needing supported employment. We've added the CQAF because we do believe it's important to have an ongoing approach to quality. So we want every supported employment programme to be of the highest quality. So we do. Many of you have used the CQAF, or many of your providers have used the CQAF, which is fantastic, but we want to keep that on the agenda to make sure going forward that we do. Sorry, you've got a bit of background noise because I'm in a room with other people. So we've added there that the Employment Forum is confident that local supported internships programme are of high quality by making sure that they're being quality assured through the CQAF. So that's a new one. And employer engagement, work experience are the same, but we've also put the CQAF in the supported internship. So this one, if you remember, is just about making sure you're constantly thinking how you might increase the number of supported internships year on year. So we've added the CQAF there as well. And then the final box, which is social value and sustainability, we've added a new one because the DfE have also asked us to prioritise follow-on support. So if your forum hasn't already discussed this or has this as a priority, it's important to be thinking about if in your local authority area you don't have follow-on support for young people once they've completed a supported internship, whether they've gone into employment or not. Have you got that follow-on support? And if not, maybe that's an area to be strengthening over the year and beyond. So I don't know if there's any questions in the chat, Lucy.
Not so far, just some discussion around the data and how that's recorded and reported and things, but more information than questions so far. And thanks everyone for sharing. Yeah.
Brilliant. So thanks everyone. So if you've got any further questions as we go on, but Lucy suggested that it would be good to have a presentation. I'll come back to you, Emma. A presentation from a local authority that use their action plan really well to drive their strategic and operational changes. And as it was short notice, I went for people in London because obviously I lead in London and I know the London authorities. So it was very, very short notice. So thanks to Beth and Kay for agreeing to come along today and share your work on your action plan. So I'm going to hand over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to load it up. We've put it on a PowerPoint. We've put our action plan on a PowerPoint. Please no one feel intimidated by the fact there's 19 slides. We're not going to talk for ages and go on and on. Kay's going to sort of do the first part and then I'll do the second part. Hopefully I'm going to share it here. Fingers crossed.
Emma,
can you see that?
Sorry, Beth.
Yeah.
I did promise to come back to Emma. So just in case her question was on what I've spoken about, I want to give her the chance to ask her question now, unless it's something that can wait.
Yeah, no, sorry. It was regarding your bit, sorry. And
Yeah,
it was just easier for me to say it than type it.
Yeah,
I did pull the
yeah,
Q&A
yeah.
chat up. There was a lot of discussion during that as well, during your presentation, and it came up in the bold conversation about, firstly, I think it's really good that the action plan has been updated. For me, and I think we touched upon this on the first meeting a couple of weeks ago when we found out about Extra, I think what would be really useful, a lot of the time in here, that those of us that are responsible for the internship work have to, it can feel quite isolating, and these areas where we're able to discuss things, it becomes really apparent that sometimes some of the things that I've struggled to put on the action plans and things, everybody else is struggling with. So it'd be really keen to, and I think this is part of what Bromley's going to do, is to share and link up with some of this data and pull us all together on things that we're struggling with, especially those bits in bold. It looks like everybody's collating information and sending it through as part of their grants, but it would be really good to get these as a bit of an extension of our send forums, if that makes sense.
Which region are you in, Emma?
So regionally,
where are you from?
Oh, sorry, Wolverhampton. So I'm part of Wolverhampton Council. So as part of our send forum, we joined forces because we just felt it was strength in numbers was better. So our send forum became a regional forum across Wolverhampton, Sandwell and Dudley, Walsall and Dudley, and it worked really well. But I think it'd be really good. I know it might not be part of the funding and the grant itself, but if we could collectively have these and discuss through these action points, if that would be something everybody wouldn't mind looking at.
We'll take a note of that, and also I'll send that message to Sarah, who covers the West Midlands.
She's been fab. Yeah, she's been absolutely brilliant.
She is fab. And I'll just pass that message to her. Maybe you could have a regional meeting just to talk about your action plans.
Yeah, we do that.
The challenges. Yeah. So you suggesting we need to have national ones?
National, yeah. Just because demographics are different as well. So we're aware of our demographics in the Black Country, and Sarah Watts is our regional lead. She's been fab. But actually, it sounds like a national thing that we're all, I know it's a national project, but a national thing that we're all looking at. So yeah, it'd be really good if we could look at obviously we've got our SEND forums, but kind of collectively nationally as part of the internship work.
Okay, that's a good message. Emma, could you put down in the chat very briefly what you think the main challenges are on the action plan, just like the headlines?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
That's grand. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, sorry, Beth, back to you.
I think it's me, Linda, that's kicking off. So thanks for having us, everybody. We're really delighted to be able to share some of the work that we've been doing in Bromley. I guess we wanted to start with a little bit of background, just in terms of who we are and what we've achieved to date. And to say that we are really fortunate in Bromley that we have a dedicated programme team, which I manage, but within that team, we have responsibility for engagement with our young people and families, the local offer, preparing for adulthood, and also the all-age autism strategy, as well as now picking up the employment work. So we have a dedicated resource that's been really been able to focus on pulling all of those different work streams together, which I think has put us in a really strong position. So just in terms of Bromley, so in terms of the landscape, we've got one FE college that operates across 2 sites, and within that college we have a dedicated unit or additional resource provision for learners with more complex needs. Before even Internship Works existed, we had PFA network meetings set up for our specialist provision within the borough, and we have recently expanded those out to include independent settings where we have a number of Bromley young people placed, and also out of borough schools where we have a larger number of young people placed, and also to our mainstream schools, although the mainstream schools, the take up so far hasn't been great. So that's an area that we're going to be focusing on moving forward. Our SEND Employment Forum continues to go from strength to strength, and we regularly have 20 to 25 attendees. We have a range of representation right through from our schools, our FE college, our voluntary sector partners, our parents, young people's voice, as well as some local employers who regularly attend and are really committed to supporting the work of the forum going forward. And I think it's fair to say that one of the ways that we've managed to make that sort of like still quite a priority for people to attend is that we always have sort of like a keynote speaker and are always sharing sort of like helpful information or resources as part of that group as well. We're really pleased to say that from September 2025, the Council will be launching our supported internship programme, and we're delighted that we've got the Oak Specialist College as our chosen provider for that. And the SI programme will start with a pre-internship year. And partly that came through some of the regional discussions that we've had across London in terms of the importance of making sure our young people are ready and understand what it means to be going to work. And we've worked closely with the Oaks to do a pre-internship year, but we're really excited about that, and we have our young people all lined up and ready to go. And then also we work incredibly closely with our Adult Education Centre in Bromley as well, and they have quite a robust sort of like employment and further education armed to their offer. So we're making sure that we're sort of like looping everybody in. Next slide, please, Beth. And then just in terms of overview, so yes, I've always been mentioned the supported internship programme starting, which is great. We have also a really successful supported internship programme running at our local hospital, the Princess Royal University Hospital in Bromley, and we're now in our 4th year of that supported internship programme that is supported by DFM Project Search. We had a wonderful celebration, graduation ceremony a couple of weeks ago, where all of this year's interns graduated, and we I think have got currently 7 out of the 10 interns into paid roles within the trust for September. So we're really pleased with that. And in addition, we've been able to, in the final term of this year, pilot some sort of like placements in alternative hospital settings, of one of which was the Queen Mary's Hospital, which is in a neighbouring borough, Bexley, but right on the Bromley-Bexley border. And as a result of that, we are establishing a new supported internship programme within Queen Mary's Hospital as well from September. I think Linda already mentioned, in terms of the action plan, the importance of getting the annual reviews right, and making sure that plans have employment outcomes within them, as our young people from year 9 and beyond, post 16, to enable them to be work focused and work ready. So we're really pleased that in Bromley we've had an annual review project running over the last 6 months or so, and we've been able to pilot through that project the importance of vocational profiling, for example, and making sure that outcomes within plans are more employment focused for our young people. That's going to be rolled out from September across all of our settings, and there's going to be some training that's going in as well. So we're using that opportunity to really bang the drum, if you like, in terms of quality outcomes in relation to employment. As I've already mentioned, our Send Employment Forum continues to go from strength to strength, and we have really strong stakeholder engagement and joint working that is coming out of that. And we continuously are sharing information and best practice, which we believe is what has led to our outcomes that we've managed to achieve within the programme so far, and it is something that we are really keen to build upon over year 4. We've come up as well through the Send Employment Forum. We've co-designed our employment pathways, and Beth will talk about those in a moment. But it's really about focusing on making sure we've got sustained employment opportunities for all levels of need, and making sure that we are clear from year 9 and beyond which pathways would be the most appropriate pathways for our young people. And Beth will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then finally from me, just in terms of building on our employer engagement, we had a fantastic event back in February this year, where we invited a number of local businesses to come and to learn a little bit more in terms of what it means to employ young people with SEN. And Linda was there, and the Oak College gave a presentation as well, and it was a really positive event. So we're really keen to develop further our relationships with some of the businesses that attended that session, and Beth in her role has already been out and following up with different companies and organisations that's expressed an interest in working with us further. So I'll hand over to Beth now, and she'll take you through our pathways, and then just through our proposed action plan for this year. Thanks, Beth.
Thank you. Thanks, Kay. I was just going to go through an overview of the pathways very quickly, because I think a lot of what I'm going to say links into those pathways. Like I say, I have put our whole action plan on this PowerPoint, but I've bolded the parts that I'm going to talk about, which link into the bold sections that Linda was talking about earlier on the action plan. So our first pathway is our high level support, and that is our supported internship. So we're looking at the people with EHCPs who are not yet ready for direct employment but have the potential to work. So we really want to make sure that we identify that earlier, and we will be coming on to that when we come to our year 9 annual reviews. Our second pathway is that support needed. Bromley are going to be doing the Connect to Work programme, which I know a lot of boroughs are, and if anyone has any information on Connect to Work, we'd really appreciate it. We're trying to make ourselves as involved as possible with it. Some would say annoying the economic development team, but you know, we're making sure we're part of that conversation because we think it's really important. We know that this is a really key part of what we can do to support people. For those that aren't aware of a Connect to Work, it's a place, train and maintain model. And our last one is our pathway. It's the more independent pathway, and it's employer and digital support. So we're looking at building our digital support. We're really lucky in our work with the Oaks Specialist College that they have really taught us about how we can support people digitally in the workplace. Their work is incredible, and we are lucky enough to take part in a Trailblazers project, which is through local London, and we are going to be piloting an assistive app with that. So we're really pleased, and we're hoping that, you know, we can talk about these pathways, but equally, you know, it's not just putting someone on one pathway, they might move to those different pathways, and we just really want to embed that through our action plan, which I'll come on to now. The first section is that data, and we, you know, I know that in our conversations through our London NDTi Internships Work programme, data always comes up. It is always something that we need to work on, and it's always something that we say that we need to work on. We know that it's something that we want to do, and we know we can do it. So we want to our key one is to ensure consistency in the definitions and reporting processes to enable accurate N2 submissions. We're going to be getting a slightly different reporting system this year, but we need to make sure that we're not relying on the fact that it's going to be all singing and all dancing and everyone's trained in doing the right things at the right time as well, and that we're keeping an eye on that. Our next sheet is partnership readiness, and the part that I've bolded in that is ensure the employment forum meetings reflect on the progress, share learning and collectively problem solve. One thing that we're really proud of, and we will come Kay's already spoken about, is our employer event that we had in February of this year. That did come out of conversations with the Send Employment Forum. We made sure we made that very clear to our employment forum that this is your employer event. This is something that you've asked for. This is the information sharing that you've done. So we wanted to bring that back, and we're constantly reflecting on the progress and sharing that. Information. So this is something that we really want to make sure that we build on. I know that this year 4 is all about sustainability, and we want to make sure that this is sustainable for people. The things that have come up in the last couple of years since we've been doing this are that we need to use all of our networks in order to feed everything that we're doing. So our Send Employment Forum has been invaluable to what we're doing, but we feed in from our PFA network where we work with schools. The information we shared there, we try not to do everything on employment there because we know that there's other areas on it, but we also talk about, you know, the conversations feed into that. We have conversations on loneliness, we have conversations on how we can support people on trading standards, on how we can protect them from scams. But we feed that into our forum, our Send Employment Forum as well, because we know that we need to make that sort of approach holistic. We also work to build the information on our Gatsby benchmarks, and something that worked really well at a recent employment forum was explaining exactly what the Gatsby benchmarks were to those that didn't know, because I think sometimes what we've found is that, you know, we use these terms and we talk about these terms, and a lot of our employers didn't know that what was being done within schools. They didn't appreciate the amount of work that goes on within schools and settings and colleges, and we really need to make sure that we share that. Equally, something that's come out of doing this action plan this year is we need to make sure that we do that for our parents, carers and young people as well, that we're talking to them and we're saying, you know, to parents and carers, actually there are Gatsby benchmarks, this is what they are, this is what schools are following, and we want to make sure that we are informing them so that when they go to the annual reviews they can have that information, which I'll come on to in a minute. We want to, again, build on the success. If you can tell from the action plan, we're very proud of our employer event. It does come up a lot, but it really was something that the format was an information event, and Linda very kindly spoke for us, and we shared information to businesses, because a lot of businesses were coming to us and saying, we want to do this, we want help. Where do I start? How do I support these young people? We feel intimidated by it. You know, how can we do this? And it was saying, you know, it's doing what you can. It's doing what your business is. If you are a small business and you just want to offer some mentoring, offer some work experience, that is invaluable to our young people. And our Send Employment Forum, taking it back to that, has been really good at explaining that to us and making sure that we've made that really clear. We held a parent, carers and young persons event to share information. We did that in the October half term, and we did it online. We did that intentionally because we wanted the young people and the parents to be together. We didn't want to try and do it. We had a good attendance. We think we can get a better attendance. We want to make sure that we offer it at different times, and I'm sure that lots of people on this this will know about factoring in times and the best times to do things. We're still not 100% sure on that, but it was really valuable. And actually talking about supported internships and what they actually are, that they're not. And I think some of the parents were thinking that it was a job, that some people think it was just pure employment, and some people were thinking it was just college based, and really explaining what that was really, really important. And actually 2 people that were on that call are now on supported internships for 25-26. So that's fantastic. We know about outcomes in EHCPs, and we have an outcome framework that we want to make sure that we embed. I think that, you know, this is something that we want to continue to work on in our actions, and we are hoping to work as a cohort, and I think it comes up in our employment forums. And this, again, writing this made us realise that we want to invite more people along to make sure that we talk about those outcomes as well. Annual reviews from year 9. So we have created, through the Send Employment Forum and feedback from that, a vocational profiling pack. It was happening. People were using vocational profiling, some brilliantly, some not as brilliantly, and some just didn't know where to start. What we found, and you'll see a lot, is that if we give it to them and we explain to them about using it, the feedback is really good, and they're actually really appreciative of it, and, you know, are willing to work better, because we just want to make sure that we're working together with them. And we've had an annual review project. We all know how important annual reviews from year 9 are, and the person doing the year 9 the annual review project, has really focused on making sure that she puts those employment and preparing for adulthood pathways in there as clearly as possible, and we really want to make sure that we get our employment pathways within that. Train job coaches. We know how invaluable job coaches are, and at our recent graduation, the job coaches were thanked and applauded so much, and so it was so welcome. The other thing that we want to do is sort of promote that as well through our Trailblazers work, and that feeds into then the digital support that we can have as well. I'm going to skip over that one. Curriculum. We have a Send advisory team who are fantastic, and I'm not just saying that because their team manager is just literally sat next to me, but they are fantastic as I talk about them. But what we're really working with the post 16 on that, and she has got some really good feedback on the Gatsby benchmarks within schools. She's working with schools to make sure that they're looking at that, and we've actually had one of our schools has had an Ofsted recently, and the only section that they got a good in was their post 16 provision, and one of the reasons was their Gatsby benchmarks, and so she's really helped us to champion that side of things. We're really lucky with that. And we've booked in a peer review for our local college supported internship. We have Project Search supported internships, and they are really successful, and we know how good they are. Our council supported internship is all set up and ready to go with the CQAF, but we just need to make sure that our college supported internship, we're all singing from the same song sheet, and we're just making sure that we're all doing the same thing. And we think that the peer review that we've booked in through BASE will be really, really beneficial to that. Employer engagement, I think I've sort of touched on that, so I'm not going to go through too much of what we are, but we work really closely with the economic development team, and again, that connect to work, we want to make sure that we're aligning that, and we're making sure that our employment pathways and our young people are aware of this. It's constantly about sharing information, which our forum has been amazing for. Work experience. So this is something that came back time and time again on our forum, and I would think a lot of you, what we've done is we've created some work experience guidance, and it's a document that we've sent out to schools, settings and businesses and shared it with them. We showed it to the Send Employment Forum and had feedback from them to make sure that we were all on the same page, and the guidance has been really well received. We have a form at the end that people can fill in. It goes on about it talks about the young people's strengths, because this is something that we really want to make sure we do. It should be strengths based, and it should be about it's not just, you know, are you good at maths? It's about teamwork and how they collaborate and things like that, but equally about independent work, because we don't just want to make sure that we're forcing them to do teamwork. I've explained about the peer review for the CQAF. We need to make sure that we're ensuring we're embedding best practice, and we need to make sure that we do that with our local college. We think they've done things really well. We just want to make sure that they're evolving with it and that their outcomes reflect that. And I'm not going to go through our social value and sustainability, but hopefully everything that we have spoken about now shows that what we're trying to do is make a sustainable project. We're making sure that our Send Employment Forum is sustainable, and we just link everything back to the Send Employment Forum. What's worked really well is sharing information at the beginning. We just sort of do a how things lie at the beginning of our Send Employment Forum, and that's really worked well. So I think it was a whistle-stop tour, but if anyone has any questions, I haven't been able to see any questions in the chat, but if anyone has any questions, please let us know, and we're happy to share anything that we've talked about today.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Beth and Kay. That was really great. I think we have a couple questions in the Q&A. The first one, I think it might be related to, in general, CQAF, but since you're just talking about it as well, I've popped the link in the chat if anyone's interested in that. And I think we're doing about 60 in this year, in year 4. And someone's asked, how frequently is it suggested that a CQAF is done? So it might be, oh yeah, Beth, you want to?
So we do the CQAF for the year, so we sort of do the CQAF at the end of the year, and we hope to work against it, and that then provides the action plan for the next academic year, as it were. So we're just hoping that all the CQAFs come in now and that we can build it, and what we then do is we get all of the CQAFs together and provide an action plan for ourselves, and it feeds into this action plan here.
Thank you so much, Beth. And getting really good feedback as well in the chat about the work you guys are doing. It's really brilliant. We had a question from Susanna about, is the council supported internship with the Oaks SC a project search program, or is it a bespoke college program?
Do you want to do, we both went to do it to answer that at the same time.
It's a bespoke college programme, not supported by DFM Project Search. However, the Oak Specialist College is relatively new, but they got an outstanding Ofsted inspection the first time they were inspected, having opened. So we are really delighted that we have them as our chosen provider, and they have some really strong links with local businesses and national businesses. So they work with the National Trust, they work with Premier Inn, for example, what's the courier called, Beth? What's the courier company called? DPD, yeah. So we're really excited that we're going to sort of be able to start to build on the relationships that they've got as well, for our young people here in Bromley.
Awesome, thank you, Kay. I've got another question kind of about building relationships. Emma's asked, how have you engaged the parent carers, and what does, you mentioned there was a parent carer event, include?
So we're really fortunate in Bromley that we've got a strong track record in terms of our parent carer engagement. I used to do the children, young people and parents and lead engagement role prior to taking on this role, and we have historically had like really good strong relationships through our parent carer forum. And we also work with another organisation called Your Voice Health and Social Care. So predominantly we go through our 2 parent engagement partners, but also we will encourage our wider partners, our voluntary sector partners and our schools to pass on the information to our families as well. What we have got as well is a SENS newsletter that goes out termly to anybody that's on the mailing list. So we make sure wherever we can, we've got something really good to tell, that the information is going into newsletters, it's going into our school circular. And yeah, we've just also started to create a SEN partnership newsletter as well. So anything that we've got that's really positive and that we want to share in terms of the work that we're doing is going into those communications as well. So one of our young people, for example, who completed the DFM Project Search supported internship at our local hospital, has now been chosen to be a young person representative on the DFN shadow board for supported internships. So we're really delighted. And actually Bevan has gone back into his previous education setting to talk to other young people. So I think there's something about in young people that have been through the process, inspiring other young people that are coming through. So that's something we're really keen to build on as well.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kay. We've got a fair few questions coming through at the moment. So some in the chat. I'm going to keep going with the Q&A, but I'll get to the chat and we'll follow up if anything isn't answered. So Mamonia, and I hope I've pronounced that all right, has asked, how has recruitment for the 2025 program been going? How many spaces will you have available?
So for the council supported internship program, we have 10 spaces. I think we're at 8 at the moment. Is that right, Beth? 7 at the moment. The way we've got around that is we've commissioned 10 places basically, because we know that there will be young people coming through late in the day as well. So we are confident that will be full. In terms of the supported internship at the PRU, we have a sort of information sharing event sort of like in the spring term, and then that's followed up by an application process, and then the young people go through an interview process, followed by then a formal consultation going through in terms of the EHC needs process. So again, I think we are looking like we are full for both that program and the new supported internship program that we're launching at the other hospital site from September as well. So yeah, that's really looking like really positive. I think that we've still got some work to do in terms of our generic supported internship program at our local college, just in terms of quality around CQAF and our employment outcomes that are being achieved, but also about making sure that the right young people are on that course. So yeah, there's work to be done there.
Awesome. Thank you. And Susanna's thanked you for answering her question before, and was also wondering if it's all right to reach out after. So maybe if you guys want to work that out in the chat, that might be helpful. And Neil has said it was a great presentation, fully agree. They've completed their first CQAF with Project Search concurrently with the local provider last year. Both very helpful, but the provider found the 2 formats somewhat confusing, and this has made it more difficult to embed the CQAF action plan. How did you maybe mitigate this?
Do you want to take that one, Beth?
Yeah, so what we found with the CQAF was, and I think someone else had put something about, because it's not mandatory and how do we get around that. It's about everything that we've tried to do is say about how we can support things. So we've kind of made everything about, well, what can we do to support you? So if you have the action plan, what can we do? So one of the things that came out of their CQAF was the fact that they wanted to inform parents more, and they wanted to get out of that. Well, we can support with that. We can help you with that. We can do that. So that's how we've kind of mitigated that we've supported them in doing the CQAF. We've worked with it together. We've completed it with them. We've asked them to complete as much as they can. We've then gone back, and then we have created the action plan and create our own action plan. I will say that that's why we've asked the peer review, because we really want to make sure that we're developing that, and it's not just us telling them things. We're working in collaboration. So that's something that we do want to work on as well.
Well, thank you, Beth. And I'll start on the chat now. Let me know if something has already been answered and I've just missed it. But Andy's asked, does the LA undertake a coordination role in terms of employer engagement?
Yeah, I think very early on we realised that was something that we needed to make sure that we did. There was no point in going out to businesses and sort of asking them for things, because we had so many people doing that, and that's again where our employer event came from. We invited businesses in and we said, this is what we can provide, this is how we can do it, come to us, we're not asking you for anything. And I think the whole time at the beginning, in the introductions, we said, we're not asking you for anything, we're sharing information, and we want to coordinate things for you, we want to put you in touch. So one of the things that we did was we put our local airport is Biggin Hill. Well, I say local airport, but it's not like we use it, it's private planes. But they asked for someone to do some neurodiversity training, so we put them in touch with some people that do that and do that really, really well, and that sort of thing. So that's where we went for. We really took a coordinating role.
Cool. Okay, brilliant. And then Laura's asked, how did you get the college to commit to the CQAF with it not being mandatory?
Yeah, I think that was one that we sort of linked in with that. We made sure that we did it together. We tried to do it with them, and then we sort of did it. This is how it's going to benefit you. I would say that it was a little bit tricky because they put themselves a little bit higher than we would have. And again, that's why the peer review with BASE is going to be so good, because it's not just us going back, and it's not an us and them. It's we're working together in unison, which is what we want.
Wonderful, thank you. Sorry, I feel like I'm just firing lots of questions at you, but everyone's really engaged, which is wonderful. And Samantha's asked whether you're happy to share your work experience doc, and has popped her email in there if you are happy.
Yeah. I'm really happy to share it with anyone. It really is a generic. We haven't made it, we haven't Bromleyfied it, we haven't done it because we've literally used it for schools and settings and businesses to do with it what they want. We said, you can put your own logo on, you can do this, you can do that, because again, we just want to make sure that we're sharing information. So, please, it's a Word document so that you can edit it how and when you want, but it just gives a structure on what to do for a day, what to do for a week, and it does some questions at the end. And if anyone does want it, I'm more than happy to send it round, or if I send it to you, Lucy, and you can send it round, I don't mind. But equally, it'd be really nice to have any feedback on that as well, would be really good, because just, we're constantly looking to evolve.
Yeah, great opportunity to kind of share learning and get feedback. Thank you, Beth. I think Leanne's asked about the CQAF review. From your other answers, you might have kind of covered this, but they've said they've shown significant improvement is required. So one provider is not sharing the results with them, and all are reluctant to work together on an action plan. How do we work to support them to improve?
I think that's something that we really would like to work on as well, because with the for the PRU, we have a really good relationship with the person who does it, and he also did the one at ISS, and we've established those relationships early to make sure that we get that. With the Oaks, it's the same thing. With our other provider, the reason that we do have outcomes is they had to provide something for something else. So we had outcomes for that. But yes, in terms of outcomes and getting that information, there's someone working there now where we're managing to build that relationship better. And I think, fortunately or unfortunately, it's about building relationships. It's about getting the right person, but it's not always easy. And we have only just found that person.
Yeah, Oh, wonderful. And then we've had another request. I should have included it with the work experience doc, but for the vocational profile pack that
Yes.
you've mentioned, would
that has been we're happy to share it. We're really happy to share anything, but that has got lots of logos on and things. But yeah, we're more than happy to share it.
Yeah, okay, great. That might help with idea generation and things. So that's wonderful. I think that's all the questions, but please someone put their hand up if I've missed yours. And it's worked out really well timing wise. So does anyone want to kind of have anything that they want to say before we start wrapping up?
Can I just thank Beth and Kay?
Yes, definitely.
That was great. Great, considering you had about 2 days to prepare. I think one of the things that I've seen at your forum is that everyone takes responsibility. So you've got different people working on different strands, and then they come to the forum and report, do an update on their strands. So it's kind of everyone there has got some responsibility for delivery, which seems to make the engagement really strong.
We're
Yeah,
really,
I think.
sorry, I was just going to say we're really proud of it, but go on, Kay.
Well, great minds think alike. Yeah, I think as Beth said, I think a lot of it is down to sort of like having those relationships, partnership working. It's so important, and I think we are sort of like blessed that there are a number of key players that have sort of like either been in Bromley quite a while, or are on the same page in terms of vision. And really want this to work. So we've got a number of really committed colleagues who, basically share our vision and our values. So it makes it relatively easy to be able to move this stuff forward. And also, just to add to that, we have got buy-in from our chief exec and all of the directors, particularly in terms of the supported internship programme within the council. Bromley, as I'm sure, as many other local authority areas, are going through a transformation programme at the moment in terms of identifying cost savings. So we are trying to use this as an opportunity to demonstrate, that we can improve outcomes for our young people as well as reducing costs. So it's about talking their language as well. But yeah, we do actually have the full buy-in from our chief exec and his board, which is really good.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. So Lucy, thank you, and thank you everyone for coming along. And as Emma did, we're always we really want to hear from you about the things that we can do as the team to support you all. So don't hesitate to go back to your regional lead if you've got ideas about webinars or anything you think we can do to support you. And it's great that we've got, it's not really a whole year now, is it? But it's best part, it's a good sort of from September till March, we can hopefully really do a great job in taking the work forward. So thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Linda, and thanks everyone. And I'll be sending out resources from the session shortly as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Have a great day.
Bye,
Thanks
everyone.
now.